Hey everyone, welcome to Mull 5. I'm JD, and as usual, I'm here playing the jankiest Tier 3 Spicy Rogue Brews for your viewing pleasure. First things first, if you enjoy what we do here, please take a moment to like and subscribe. It's a quick, easy way to show your support, and it really does help us out. Also, I'd like to thank our sponsor, Main Phase Media. These videos would not be possible without them, so please check them out for all your graphic design and video production needs. And finally, if you have your own janky masterpiece you'd like to see me play, please leave a comment or shoot an email to the address in the description below. And now we'll get straight to the deck tech. And today we are playing some classic jank with a deck called Zombie Hunt. And this deck revolves around two cards, really. The first and most important is Treasure Hunt. The second is Zombie Infestation. And literally the rest of the deck is 54 lands. So let me explain how this works. So basically, you need a Treasure Hunt in your opening hand, or else the deck does not work. So you mulligan until you find it. You can mulligan all the way down to one card if you have to, but you need to start the game with this card in your hand. Otherwise, you just do nothing. And the odds are actually, I think it's something like 85% of the time, statistically, with 4 Treasure Hunts in our deck, we will finally find one in our opening hand if we fully utilize our mulligans. So anyway, you multi, you get one. And so you cast this card, you reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal a non-land card, and then put all cards revealed this way into your hand. So when we cast this, we're going to be drawing a ton of cards because they're all lands. So basically, we'll be digging until we find either another Treasure Hunt, in which case we do it all over again, or ideally we hit a Zombie Infestation. And so cast Treasure Hunt, we now have a ton of lands and hopefully a Zombie Infestation in our hand. Then actually the third kind of key piece here is Reliquary Tower, which is a land that says you have no maximum hand size. So we're either hopefully have this, if we have this in our opening hand or we draw into it, if we could play this as our first or second land, then we can go ahead and cast our Treasure Hunt on turn 2, because then we don't have to worry about discarding to hand size, because we have to wait till the next turn to cast Zombie Infestation and really go off. So we're either, if we have Reliquary Tower, we can cast Treasure Hunt on turn 2. Otherwise, we wait until turn 3, play Treasure Hunt before we make our land drop, and then because we're drawing so many cards, it's pretty likely we're drawing into Reliquary Tower, drop that as our third land drop, and then we get to keep everything in our hand that we just drew. So once we've got all these cards in hand, we've got to keep them because we got Reliquary Tower. We drop a Zombie Infestation, which is an enchantment. Discard 2 cards, create a 2/2 black zombie creature token. So we'll either be dropping this on turn 3 or turn 4, depending. And then the cool thing about this is the ability is at instant speed. So we can drop this turn 3 or turn 4, pass the turn, let our opponent do their thing, and then on their end step, pitch all our cards in hand to create an army of zombies, untap, and then they can swing in. So this avoids any sorcery speed sweepers, anger the gods, that sort of thing. So that's the basic idea of the deck. We do have a few other kind of support lands, I guess. We have Bozeshu, who shelters all. It basically pay 2 life, add colorless, but if that mana is spent on an instant or sorcery spell, it can't be countered. So the two things our deck really folds to are counter spells and hand disruption, like Thoughtseize or Inquisition. So Bozeshu at least partially gets around the counters. we can cast our treasure hunt using mana from Bezeishu, and it can't be countered. Now, of course, they could just keep that counter spell and use it on our zombie infestation. And that is a risk, but at least if we whiff on our treasure hunt, if that just gets countered, it's probably unlikely that we have a second one in hand to try again, so the game's just over. At least if we get our treasure hunt off, we have a ton of cards in hand. We probably have another treasure hunt, or maybe even 2 zombie infestations in hand, and we can try a zombie infestation. If it gets countered, then we can treasure hunt for another one. And try it again, and hopefully they don't have the second counter. So yes, Bezeishu only protects treasure hunt, but it's more important that we get treasure hunt cast than zombie infestation. So it fights through at least one counter spell. And we have so many land slots in this deck, there's really no harm in including it. The only other things I have are a couple man lands. Creeping Tar Pit, the blue-black man land, becomes a 3/2 elemental. And Wandering Fumarole, the blue-red manland. It's unlikely we'll ever be using these to attack. We're either going to win or lose with our combo. But again, it can't hurt. We have so many slots. Might as well throw them in there. And Wandering Fumarole, since it taps for red, brings us to the sideboard. The thing about this deck is you can't really sideboard anything except for other lands. If you put in any other spell, say we put in Dispels or whatever to protect ourselves against counterspells and Thoughtseize, those are just cards that are going to get hit with Treasure Hunt, and we are less likely to find our zombie infestation. And so this combo is all in. It's very fragile. So we can't afford to put really anything in our sideboard. So what I have is kind of a transformative sideboard. There is a similar card to Zombie Infestation. It plays a similar role. It's called Seismic Assault. It's an enchantment. Discard 1 land card instead of 2, and it deals 2 damage to any target. So we can burn them out pretty quickly with Seismic Assault. It works exactly the same way as Treasure Hunt. So what we would do is we bring in the 2 Seismic Assaults instead of Zombie Infestation. And then we bring in a whole 13 mountains and take out all the black sources. Take out like 13 swamps. And now we have a Seismic Assault deck instead of a Zombie Infestation deck. Seismic Assault, is a little harder to cast because it's triple red. But we have, like I said, 13 mountains, and then the Wandering Fumaroles help. So we'll have 17 red sources, and maybe it's enough. I don't know if this sideboard plan really does anything, because we're going to be playing our zombies at instant speed anyway. So again, the 2 big ways people can fight against our deck is counterspells and hand disruption. They could try to sweep away all our creatures, but most sweepers are sorcery speed, so we don't really have to worry about that. So I guess Seismic Assault, it could get around if there's any instant speed, like I guess it gets around like Echoing Truth or something. If they bring in Echoing Truth to kind of bounce all our tokens, we bring this in game 2, and all of a sudden our game plan isn't tokens anymore. It's just burn. So it could be kind of a gotcha moment, and it's just funny regardless. Get them with 2 ridiculous combos instead of just 1. So, yeah, that's pretty much it. It's also worth noting this deck is dirt cheap. Mine's a little more expensive because the Bezeishus are kind of pricey. The manlands, you could literally just make this deck with Reliquary Tower, Zombie Infestation, Treasure Hunt, and then basic islands and basic swamps, and it's like 50 cents online. So you can make this for dirt cheap, which is probably worth it because it's hilarious and fun. Or if you want to increase your percentage points of winning by a hair, you could throw in some of these spicy cards, or really whatever other lands you want. You could put in a ton of all the man lands and make it like 5 colors, I guess, and go on that plan. I don't know. But the basic deck itself is super cheap. It's inconsistent, but it's fun and hilarious. So that does it for the deck tech. We're going to go ahead and take this to a friendly modern league and see how we do. So I will see you in the first match.